engagement actually at his church. He was speaking, and so he's just arrived, so we're going to go ahead and listen to him. He is running to unseat Martin Heinrich in our
Hey, good to see everyone out here. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Excuse my formal attire, but I was at church, so I can take this off, actually. But thank you all very much for the opportunity to be here. I am running for Congress. Happy to say I am the Republican nominee, and yes, I am running against that ultra-leftist Martin Heinrich. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here with all of you. I thank you so much for the time and your attendance. I really appreciate the fact that you guys are showing a lot of energy and trying to regain control of where our country should be headed. In about 3 or 4 hours, there will be a momentous vote. That vote will be taken this afternoon or this evening on health care. A so-called reform bill that is essentially a first step, a leapfrog toward a government takeover of our health care system. Another $500 billion or so of taxes, another $500 billion or so of Medicare cuts, another large imposition upon all of you as small businesses, as individuals, as families of people who are going to get involved in your life, people in Washington, D.C. who don't know who you are and don't care who you are, but are going to get their mitts into your pocketbook and tell you how to buy health care, tell you how to run your lives, and tell you that Washington knows better than you about how to run your family and how to run your individual lives. Mr. Heinrich has decided to vote for this bill. Now I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I respect him. I respect his position. I just simply disagree with him on this position. He's even to the left of his own party. He supports a robust public option on the health care bill. Now, when you're to the left of your party on this issue, you know you're pretty far left, to be honest. So let's keep an eye on the bill. It's very, very close. People know that there's going to be, within maybe of half a dozen, 5 or so votes. That's where they're at this very minute. So, tonight's going to be a very, very interesting vote. We're going to see what happens. But all of you, whether it passes or not, can make a big, big difference in November. You can make a big difference, regardless of whether this bill passes or not. But let me summarize now, because I think I only have 5 minutes, where he is on the issues, where I am on the issues, and why it's so important to get this seat back for us, not only as a party, but for us as New Mexicans. First, he voted for the first Obama budget, a $3.5 trillion spending bill, which quadrupled our federal deficit in 1 year from $450 billion to $1.6 trillion. He also voted for the Senate stimulus bill. Another $150 billion of spending. He supports cap and trade. He voted for cap and trade, which kills our energy. Don't believe it, but this is going to create green jobs, because for every green job that's supposedly created, and yes, I do believe in alternatives, wind and all of that, but for every job that's created in the green industry, we're going to kill 1 or 2 jobs here in New Mexico in the oil and gas industry. The oil and gas industry provides so much to this state. It's an energy-rich state. It'll kill that industry. I told he supports health care. He's also a co-sponsor of card check legislation, which takes away the secret ballot in union elections. That's un-American. Even Senator McGovern opposes that bill and is on the record opposing that bill. I could go on and on, but don't let anyone fool you. Don't let the Democrats fool you. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans, but don't let somebody that's running for office fool you, especially if they're on the left of things. Mr. Heinrich's not a moderate. He's a left guy. He's a liberal. He's not a progressive. They use euphemisms. Progressives are left-wing people. But let me leave you with this. We have an opportunity. We need to regain control of the House. This district, the district here, 1st District, could very well determine whether or not we as Republicans regain control of the U.S. House of Representatives. It's a swing district. It's always been held by a Republican. With your help, let's get it back. Let's get it back in control of the people. Let's go out, let's organize, let's work hard. Let's go out and win an election in November. Thank you all very much. 2 questions, I understand? 3 questions. 3 questions. Yes.
Should this debacle that is held here before should this debacle in Washington pass, can we count on you to use the power of the purse to not appropriate funds for its execution?
Absolutely, and I would also seek to try to repeal this law, but I'm not going to lie, it's not going to be easy. President Obama will still be in office, and he will veto any efforts to repeal it. That's exactly one way to do it. I also know that several states are looking at filing lawsuits also to challenge the constitutionality of this law. Yes, sir.
When the Republicans took over the Congress, the House, and the Senate, they spent, like, without insulting anybody from the Navy, they spent like
Right.
and I became a firm believer in term limits. So I'll ask you the same question I asked the previous candidate. What's your stand on term limits?
Well, it's a let me give you 2-part answer to that question. First of all, I am making no apologies for what happened under Congress when we were in control of the U.S. House. You're right. We left, as I mentioned in my comments, a $450 billion debt. That's wrong. We expanded government as well. That was wrong. We didn't balance the budget. That was wrong. So, you know, I can understand why people lost faith in our party, in our leadership, and I totally understand that. So I make no apologies for what happened under our control. And by the way, we had some moral transgressions as well. And so I understand that. More directly answer your question, yes, I would very seriously consider term limits, although that would take a constitutional amendment. I do believe, however, that term limits are not a panacea. It's not a cure-all for the problems or ills of government. Look no further than California. They had term limits established in the state legislature about 12 years ago or so, and that has not cured California's ills. I would give another 5 or 10 minute speech as far as how we cure those ills, but just let me tell you that that is not a silver bullet to the problems that we face in this country, or the problems that California faced as a state. It just didn't solve the problems. So I will caution about that. And generally speaking, that hasn't worked in the past in other jurisdictions as well. One more question?
One more question?
Yes, one more.
Yes, ma'am.
What are you going to do when you get to Washington? If we send you there, how are you going to keep from getting down into the scum with everybody else?
Right.
Well, my wife couldn't make it here. I have a lot of good friends and family, and I'm very serious about this. My wife and my family keep me very grounded on trying to be humble. Also, many of you probably are aware, I used to work for Congressman Joe Skeen. Had the great blessing to have worked for him for about 8 years. I was one of his original staffers. For those of you who knew Congressman Skeen, he always was, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of most, a very humble, very respectful, very upright man who always reminded me when he was in office, he says, John, you know, it's a great honor to be in office. First of all, it's a privilege. Always keep that in the forefront. It's a privilege to serve. But always remember that you are simply a servant. You're not the boss. You've got 600,000 bosses that you have to represent. And I always remember that comment in my mind. And that is indeed that's indeed my belief. Thank you all again. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's what we need.